the decimal number system. As a human, we represent numbers in the decimal number system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the decimal number system, we multiply the digit by power of 10. So if you take, so this is how the decimal number system usually looks like. We have the ones place, tens place, hundreds place, ones place, tens place, and the hundreds place. Now if you wanted to basically represent 234 in the decimal number system, this is how it looks like. So we will be putting 2 in the hundreds place, 3 into tens place, and 4 in the ones place. Now 2 into 100 plus 3 into 10 plus 4 into 1, which is basically the summation of this would be 234. One important observation you guys need to make is in the decimal number system, everything is in the power of 10. You could see the 10 to the power of 0 is basically 1, 10 square is 10 to the power of 1 is 10, 10 square is equivalent to 100. In the same way, we have thousands positions, we have similarly different other places as well. So the human system, the decimal number system is one of the number system. It's been used by the humans since from many decades to represent the numbers. Now, when you look into the units of a memory and time, this is how it looks like. So the first thing, the units of the memory. So we have something called kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes, and exabytes. And you could also see the equivalent binary representation, which is in the form of a byte, which is 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes. As you keep moving from the granular level to the biggest position, biggest unit, you could see the number is being getting multiplied by 10, which is 2 to the power of 10, 2 to the power of 30, 2 to the power of 40, 2 to the power of 50, and 2 to the power of 60. So that means that as you keep growing in terms of the sizes, you could be using the respective unit of a memory. In the same way, if you look at the unit of the time, we have milliseconds. 1 millisecond is equal to 1000 microseconds, and 1 second is equal to 1000 milliseconds, and 1 minute is 60 seconds, 1 hour is 60 minutes, and 1 day is 24 hours, 1 year is 365 days if it is not a leap year. 1 decade is equal to 10 years, and 1 century is 10 decades. Imagine if a CPU takes 1 MB to write the data onto the RAM, takes an order of microseconds. But if the CPU wants to write the same amount of the data, which is 1 MB, into the disk, it takes in the order of milliseconds, which means writing the data and reading the data onto the RAM is faster when compared to writing the data and reading the data onto the disk. The binary number system. In this slide, you could see we are basically converting the decimal 2 into a binary. So for that, if you look at this table, the divisor would always be 2. If you want to convert a decimal number into the binary, the divisor will always be 2. That means you will be keep dividing the coefficient of a previous step with the 2 all the time. Now the 2 is what we are trying to convert, so that will become the first dividend. So the divisor of 2, the nearest multiplier for the dividend 2 is 2 into 1, which is equal to 2. So now as we multiplied the 2 with 1, the quotient will become 1 and the remainder will become 0. And until we need to keep repeating the steps until the quotient becomes 0. So we could clearly see here that the divisor, now the quotient in the previous step, which is 1, will now become the dividend in the next step. And we could clearly see that the dividend 1, which is less than the divisor. So we will be multiplying the divisor, which is 2, into 0, which will be 0. Now the quotient will become 0, and then the remainder will become 1, which is 1 minus 0, which is equal to 1. So now you need to take the reminders, all the reminders. You need to write the sequence of all the reminders from bottom to the top, which is the most significant bit till the least significant bit. So which looks like this. So which is 1 comma 0. So the binary to decimal to the binary number conversion of a 2 is 1 0. In the same way, let's take another example. Let's try to now convert decimal 13 into binary. So for now, the divisor will always be 2, as we already discussed. Now the dividend will become 13. So the nearest multiplier for the 13 would be 2 into 6, that is equal to 12. Now the quotient will become 6, and the remainder will become 1 because of dividend minus the multiplication of a divisor, which is 12. So 13 minus 12 would be 1. Now the quotient of the previous step, which is 6, will become the dividend to the next step. So now the divisor will still remains the 2, and the nearest multiplier would be 3. So 2 into 3 is equal to 6. Now the quotient will become 3, and the remainder will be 6 minus 6, that is equal to 0. Now you need to take the previous step quotient, and you have to further divide that by 2. So the divisor will be 2, and the dividend would be 3, and the nearest multiplier would be 1, which is 2 into 1, that is equal to 2. Now the quotient will become 1, and 3 minus 2, which is the remainder, which is equal to 1. Now the quotient will become the dividend, and the divisor will still be the 2. So the nearest multiplier to this 1, which is a dividend, would be 2 into 0, that is equal to 1. That is equal to 0. It's not 1, I'm sorry, there's a typo over here. It's basically 0. So 2 into 0 is equal to 0. The quotient will become 0, and 1 minus the 0 will become the 1. Now you need to put down all the reminders together from the starting from MSB, which is this location, till to the top, which is LSB, till to the top, which will be 1 1 0 1. So the representation of decimal 13 in the binary would be 1 1 0 1. In the same way, you can do it for 165, and the process will be the same. Starting from, you need to be taking the dividend as 165, and you will be getting an initial coefficient, and then the reminders, the respective reminders. You have to be continuing this exercise until you reach the quotient as 0. Then you need to put down all the reminders together, starting from MSB till the LSB. So 165 is represented something like this, which is 1 0 0 1 0 0 1 0 1. In the same way, you can basically follow the same procedure and convert any decimal number into the binary. Let's say 128169 can be represented as a binary, which looks something like this, by following this procedure. Now, if you look at the binary number system is full of bits. So if you try to represent any decimal number in the binary number system, say 2-bit, 4-bit, 6-bit, 7-bit, and 16-bit, the maximum numbers that you can represent, the largest decimal number that you can represent with the 2-bit would be 3, where 2 to the power of 2 minus 1, that is going to be 3. And the largest number that you can represent with the 4-bit is 15. And the largest number that you can basically represent is with the 7-bit is 127. That's the reason why, as I was keep telling you guys, that the ASCII representation or all the ASCII characters, the maximum decimal number that you can see is 127, which means that you have only 127 different types of characters in your ASCII encoding. And with 16-bit, you can be having, you can represent you can have 65,535 different types of symbols. So for 2-bit, you could see, as we have been talking, the multiplier digit would be always 2, which is been represented in the power of 2. That means 2 to the power of 0 and 2 to the power of 1. So this represents 1 bit out of this 2 bits. In the same way, you could be seeing 15 bits, 2 to the power of 15, which is 32768 for 16-bit representation. Now let's take an example and understand how you can convert a decimal to binary easily in another approach. Let's say if I wanted to convert 1 into the binary, which is the decimal number 1, into a binary in a 16-bit representation, then I would be having 16 bits with their respective powers on the top in the below table. Now this 1, you could see the 1 over here, so you will directly represent 1, you will be putting a 1 under this particular cell, and rest all been assigned with zeros. Let's say if you wanted to represent 25, decimal number 25 in 16-bit, then what you need to do is you have to basically take the nearest number for this 25. That means 32 is basically greater than 25, and 16 would be less than 25. So you'll be keeping 1 over here, then you have to do 25 minus 16, and the remainder is basically 9. So the nearest number to this 9 would be 8. So then you will be keeping 1 under this 8. And then you have to be continuing these steps until your remainder will become 0. And now 9 minus 8 is 1, which is a remainder. Now you could see the 1 at the end. You will be putting 1 under this 1, which is 2 to the power of 0. So now if you, and rest all will be assigned with zeros, which means that this into 0 plus this into 0 plus this into 0, like that till here, and then you have 16 into 1 plus 8 into 1 plus 1 into 1, which is basically represented as the 25. That means when you sum up 16 plus 8 plus 1, that will be 25.